On the Valley's official weather station, 710 KURV.
The 710 KURV People Poll is brought to you by Total Imaging Solutions, where service comes first.
Your winning partner is News Talk 710 KURV. We deliver real results with a powerful mix of radio, social media, promotions, and live endorsements from the Rio Grande Valley's most trusted influencers and on-air personalities. Your brand will be heard, seen, and connected everywhere. Our expert multimedia marketing team will build a strategy to make this your best summer yet. Call 956-992-8895 or visit radiounited.com and team up with News Talk 710 KURV for winning results this summer.
Broadcasting from the Valley's commercial and fleet headquarters studio at PayneAutoGroup.com. You're listening to News Talk 710 KURV. From the Radio United Broadcast Center, this is the Sergio Show. Talking about the news headlines and topics that affect you. And now, the Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez.
Happy Friday. Another Finally Friday edition. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. I'm your humble host, Sergio Sanchez, along with show producer Fred Cruz, the top news radio talk radio producer in all of Texas. Coming up in at least this half hour of the program, I think that we're going to have a chance to catapult. I believe Freddie's already logged us in to do 710 KURV. X Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live as well. So we're seconds away from a conversation on the trends in oil right now. So President Trump and Xi Jinping, they just finished their conversation. And since I hear that Xi Jinping gets some of his oil from Iran, I wonder how much that is. And of course, some of that is, I guess, stuck unless it is somehow going around the U.S. military blockade, making it to China, or it's being allowed to travel through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm wondering if, and they do agree, by the way, that's some of the news of the day, is that President Trump and Xi Jinping, they agree that the Strait of Hormuz should be open. Okay, well, if it's your oil, G, Pooh Bear, if it's your oil, are you going to send some ships to help out with the security? Was there any of that? Yeah, that's coming up in mere seconds. In McAllen, District 5 McAllen is going to developer Michael Fallick. He will be the commissioner for that. And Mike is already in the lobby. So we'll have a chance to speak with him. It's an important conversation for us in this area because Mike is very involved in sprucing up, developing, improving a very important segment of McAllen. Of course, this is just very McAllen-centric. You guys in Brownsville, Harlingen, be patient with me. The 10th and the Expressway, the old convention center site. That's a main development taking place there. Mike is also influential in other developments in other parts of the city. So we'll be speaking with Mike in just a little bit. Let's go to Dallas, the Dallas area. And one of the conversations coming up in a little bit, towards the end of this hour, maybe sometime next hour, I got off the horn with my friend Jeff Manasso up in Chicago for Fox News. He was taking a look at the census data, the most recent estimates on growth. And it's no secret that everybody's coming to Texas. So when they get to Texas, where do they go? They're going to Dallas. There's a lot of little towns that I never heard of, like Salina, Texas, and Melissa, Texas, Ann, Texas. Princeton, Texas. I think that's also the Dallas area. 18% growth, 20% growth. Salina, Texas. If I said it right, if it was an S, it'd be Salinas. Like anything for Salinas. Just off the chart growth for them. Like little communities. That is all in northeast metro Dallas area, which would be closer, northeast Dallas area. So let's go to Dallas from MatadorEconomics.com. My friend Tim Snyder, economist. Do you see some of that crazy growth in the metro Dallas? Do you get to that part of town when you visit the northeast part of town? Is there a lot of crazy
Sergio,
growth? Yeah.
I actually live right in the middle of it.
Of
McKinney is right next to Anna and Princeton and Salina and Prosper and Little Elm and all the rest of those little bitty thriving metropoli. that
Yeah.
are around here. So we're right in the big middle of it, and it is going gangbusters.
I bet you love the traffic backup then with all the construction in the area trying to get back at the downtown. Fulshire, Texas made it. That's south of Katy. And I know that's Houston. So they're all going to Dallas or they're going to Houston because, as I said earlier this week, Texas is business friendly. And I don't see that changing anytime near future unless in Texas we're stupid enough to vote Democrat. So we'll have to clear the next election cycle. I called you about oil and President Trump and President Xi Jinping. And I had mentioned that Xi Jinping, he gets a lot of oil from Iran, they say. How much does he get from Iran? And how bad is China hurting right now when it comes to petroleum? Do you know?
Well, I'm going to give you an answer that you're probably not going to expect, but the first answer is, Iran was selling 90% of its crude oil production to China. That's number one. Number two, that represented 40% of China's consumption of crude oil. And number three, because of the dark market transloading from ship to ship and reflagging vessels, China's not hurting one little bit on crude oil, having crude oil. It's just a ploy.
Okay.
It's really just a lot of fluff, and unfortunately, that's the truth here. China's still making billions of dollars, and they're still being able to buy this dark market crude, and still are getting their discounts that they were getting prior to the war.
That's crazy. So describe for me that the whole reflag and the dark market. How does it play? Because some ships are making it through the Strait of Hormuz, so apparently enough is, or is it going by land, by a pipe, and China's getting it somewhere else, getting all that Iranian oil? How are they getting all this? Describe that for me.
All of the above. I mean, they're taking Iranian crude oil that first of all was sitting in ships. This is about the only ships that are making it through VLCCs, the very large crude carriers, or any of the tankers, smaller tankers that go through there. Iran's ownership is primarily what they're dealing with. It's either an Iranian ship, or it's an Indian ship, or it's a ship that's flagged with another nation that has an agreement with China. And so what they basically do is they make it through the strait. They turn their transponders off. Apparently everybody's turning off their transponders now, and they're going through the Strait of Hormuz so as to not attract the attention. So that I think that's actually a signal to Iran not to shoot at them. Because they already have this pre-agreed sort of program going on, and they get out into free international waters where they can legally transload from ship A to ship B, which is very dangerous and environmentally threatening. But they transload it at sea into a different tanker and then go into China, into the teapot area.
Tim Snyder, economist, MatadorEconomics.com. So if Iran knows who not to shoot at, the transponders off, well, the U.S. military also knows. I think our people also know who they need to stop. And I'm thinking, wink, wink, nod, nod. They're not stopping. And I suspect this is true because when the whole Venezuela thing was going on, and they went and picked up Nick Maduro and his wife and brought him over here, and then took over the oil in that country. And we knew the ships that were not supposed to leave, not supposed to enter, not supposed to leave. We knew exactly which ships to stop using the same thing, turning. So I think our people know. I think Donald Trump knows. The Pentagon knows where those ships, which ones they are, and we're just wink, wink, not allowing. We're just allowing China to continue to receive their oil, despite any other headline or bluster in the headlines over here.
Yes, sir.
What do you
I
think?
think that's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. Oh, well. Meantime, because of, I don't know if to call it hysteria related to the lack of free flow of energy to Europe and Asia and other places like that, I don't know if it's hysteria or if it's a legitimate concern expressed by the market where we have $100 a barrel oil plus, and it's affecting everything else, including price of diesel at $5 plus. And should it be that way? Is the shortage that deleterious, that painful, that real? Or is it just market, as I said, hysteria and just craziness right now that's leading to all this inflation? And we're doing an inflation check right now.
The facts are that pricing for energy outside, in the United States, outside the United States, it's the fossil fuel energy is all globally traded. This is a price. This is a price point that's established on world trade. It's not established on U.S. trade. Energy independence means we can produce enough. Energy dependence does not mean we can insulate ourselves in terms of price. That's the big difference between the two. And as we look at where these markets are beginning to go, tightness outside of the United States sphere in the maybe legitimate world markets outside, and I'm talking about dark market or black market trade, which there is a substantial trade in black market crude oil and refined products. But outside of that, within the traditional markets, there is a tightness, there is a shortness. The European Union is suffering mightily. Southeast Asia is having trouble being able to source the products that they need. There are hot points around the globe. We see jet fuel and very extremely tight supplies, and so we're not manufacturing more jet fuel in the United States because we don't have more refinery space or capacity to be able to add more jet fuel yet. So we've got a lot going on until you guys get your refinery up and going down there. But we've got a lot going on here, and this. Remember, the old saying of "buy the rumor, sell the news." Okay, buy the rumor, sell the news tells us that right now the speculation's worse than the actual issue, and so that's what we're dealing with.
3.8% inflation for consumers year to year. We're at 6% wholesale. That's real concerning. That's scary because that's going to be passed down to the retailers and to the consumers sometime in the near future. With President Trump saying he's not using economic data or consumer prices to make determinations on Iran. Mr. President, can you please wrap this up as quickly as possible, sir? The 2-week war is now 2 months plus 3 months. We need this to stop. We need some more confidence in the market that the prices are going to start going down. For the sake of the consumer, forget the political side. For the sake of just people that are having to fill up the gas tank, we cannot continue in this direction. We got a new Fed chair, and President Trump, I'm guessing, is probably going to be at loggerheads with this guy named Warsh here pretty soon because they say Warsh is an inflation hawk. I don't think that this dude's going to go in there and start slashing rates anytime soon once he takes the helm, and I don't know when that's going to be, but that should be around the corner. I don't think those rate cuts are coming anytime soon.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of the things you're dealing with here is that, they had a consensus, pretty much had a consensus of keeping rates higher with Jerome Powell. They did have a vote, this last FOMC committee vote at the last Fed meeting, showed that there was a bit of a break. There were 3 dissenting votes when we hadn't had but one for quite some time. I think it's going to take a little while to get a consensus, and that's what I think Kevin Warsh is going to work on, is building a consensus. But right now, our focus needs to be not leading from behind. Our focus needs to be step out front and lead and be the big dog. We're the big dog. We're supposed to be the world's largest economy. We need to act like the big dog and lead from the head, in the front versus leading from behind.
Any observations you want to make as far as oil patch activity, either rigs or employment or any other trends that are interesting to you right now?
Well, what's interesting to me right now is the fact that we're not seeing the activity that we should be seeing in the oil patch. I mean, I look at the Baker Hughes rig count every Friday. We'll get it at noon today. I look at those markets and I think to myself, okay, why am I not seeing an increase in crude oil rigs? Why are crude oil rigs either steady or lower than where they started just this year? Forget about the fact that where we were at 2021 when President Trump left office, which is significantly higher than where we are today. But, natural gas is only up 4 or 5 on the year. And that's because we got LNG demand that's blowing this stuff. So there's a lot going on here that I'm a little suspicious of, but it also indicates to me that there is some concern within the oil patch of the producers that are out there thinking, if I'm going to expand my capital expansion money, my CapEx money, and start to develop newer areas and increase or expand my production, I want to have a guarantee that in at the end of this November after the election, we're not going to be stung by a significant shift in the House leadership, number one, or number two, in 2 years when President Trump is not in office anymore and somebody decides that they've got to get a Democrat in office, then all of a sudden all bets are off.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is we got way too many millions of our neighbors and family, low information, not paying attention. They're just voting with their hearts or the empty space between their ears, and they just vote stupidly. Yeah, we're that is a real risk that we run in the future. And with China saying that they're willing to buy more U.S. oil, I was thinking this is like China also saying they're willing to buy more beef. We're at 75-year low stocks when it comes to cattle and all those steaks that are walking around. We're at 75-year low inventory of that. What beef are we going to be selling them? I mean, do we have enough oil to sell them too? I mean, we're running low around here with the oil patch as not producing any more than it is. Anyway, final thought from you before I let you go.
I would say this. I completely agree. That's been my big issue. I'm really not a big fan of the fact that China said they want to buy more U.S. oil. Okay. So what? We don't need China to be buying more oil right now.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And right now we're having a hard enough time getting steers out of Mexico because of New World screwworm, and we can't replenish the stock of beef that we need to have. So we got issues going on right here. Stop selling stuff we don't have.
We don't have any of that. I'm getting to the point. I'm going to be just shooing the flies away and the screwworms. Okay, let me clean that portion off.
That's right.
Eat my steak. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, pal. Appreciate you being just a phone call away. That's Tim Snyder. Check out his commentary. Check out his newsletter on a regular basis at matadoreconomics.com. And I was telling Tim, I'm very happy that he's part of the Farm Bureau program early in the morning, part of the team here at KURV. Freddie and I set up that Farm Bureau Roundup. Is that the name of it, Freddie? Right, the Farm Bureau Roundup? Pardon. Sorry, Freddie. That's the weekend show, right? The Farm Bureau Roundup. It's Texas Ag Today, 6 a.m. to 6:30 here on 710 KURV. And Tim is in the mix. He's providing a regular report here at 710 KURV. Time is 9:23. Going to pay some bills now. Up next is Michael Fallon, our new commissioner for District 5 in McAllen.
Coming up after the Sergio Show, stay tuned for the Dana Les Show starting at 11, followed by the Brian Kilmeade Show at 2 on News Talk 710 KURV and on the Radio Potterme app. Later today on the Brian Kilmeade Show.
You do not want to miss the Friday edition of the show as we give you the latest on the redistricting that's making every Democrat's head explode and make you wonder if the House is really in play. And you got to wonder, too, what's it going to take to win in Iran? I think we got to go all back in. I'll talk to Mark Thiessen about that and Shannon Bream as well. Tyrus on this new push among the next generation to slow down AI. We'll discuss that and all with so much more on the Friday edition, Brian Kilmeade Show.
This afternoon starting at 2 on News Talk 710 KURV and the Radio Potterme app.
Jay Gonzalez, the Valley's top lawyer with over 20 years of experience. Jay Gonzalez is simply the best. If you've been injured in a crash, call 1-800-CAR-CRASH today.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Fox on Tech. You don't like those new instants on Instagram? You can turn them off. Meta's Instagram debuted a new feature this week that not everybody is excited about. They're called Instants, and it is a quick way to snap a photo and share it through a special kind of feed that evaporates quickly. Meta intended it as a way for users to quickly share moments as they happen, but there are some people now complaining the app feature is causing them to inadvertently share photos they'd rather not the world get to see. That's because tapping the shutter button within the instance puts that photo right on the feed. There is an undo feature, but most users seem to be missing it. So to prevent any mishaps, one can tap their 3-line menu, get to content preferences, and choose hide instance in inbox. Not only will you no longer see the feature, you will also no longer see instance sent to you by other users. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
The Sergio Show with Sergio Sanchez. Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk 710 KURV, KURV.com, and live on Facebook.
Time is 9:26. The Sergio Show on News Talk 710 KURV. Big thank you to Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing for this hour of the program. Don't forget, Chamberlain Roofing, Waterproofing. They will check for free, gratis, no expense to you, see if everything's okay. Now we're entering storm season. I do hope that the predictions on that, what they say, that Super El Nino, I hope that's true. Maybe less hurricanes, but we do need some tropical rain. If we get it, though, all it takes is one. Is your commercial roof ready? Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing. They'll check, say if there's any weak spots for free. Developer, businessman, and a pillar in our community, Michael Fallick, is in the studio. Step up to the microphone, my friend. Check the mic. Make sure it's on. Well, welcome back, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sergio. Nice to be here.
Yes,
Appreciate you having me again in the studio.
You bet. Congratulations on your District 5 win. It was close, man.
It was close. It got good turnout.
Yeah.
Never as many people coming out to vote as I think that we want to see citywide, but I was excited about the turnout and very relieved, honestly, that didn't have to go through a runoff.
Yeah.
That would have been in late June, and just thinking about the weather, as you just brought up, and the heat that would have been prevalent at that time, I'm glad that the race has been decided.
And then a lot of people on vacation, the ones that are most active in the community and have businesses and care about the community. Yeah, that would have been a very different runoff election.
It can be.
When I said it was close as far as avoiding the runoff, it was by how many votes in the end?
3 votes over the 50% threshold. Yeah, so it came down to the wire, just as relates to whether there was going to be a runoff there.
Yeah, when I saw, which by the way, Miss Felida Villarreal, I think it's the last name. Happy birthday! It's her birthday today.
Oh, great!
That's one good thing about Facebook, right? It's these people's birthday today. When I saw the initial number, it was like 50.1 something percent. I go,
right.
Yeah, that's one vote.
Yeah,
that's one vote. That made
you were
the
exactly
difference.
right at that time. And then there were a couple provisionals and absentee ballots that had to be vetted. So it went. There was about a week delay between the first and the official results. So I was glad it worked out right.
Well, you've been so involved in the community for so many years on the business side, development side. I want to get an update on what you and your family are doing here pretty soon. But tell me, full head of steam, like how excited are you to, take District 5, take the helm, get involved, get in the mix? Like, what would you like to do immediately?
Thrilled to be done with the campaigning and ready to actually get to work.
Yeah.
Been over at City Hall several times since then. I was at the last City Commission meeting. There wasn't much then, but I think there will be on the next several agendas, and excited really to dive into everything that the city's got going on. There's quite a few different projects that I look forward to getting to peek behind the curtain and find more of the details out so that, we can be making decisions and working for the best interests of the residents here in McAllen.
Is there a problem? Is there an issue you want to get resolved, like almost immediately?
No, I wouldn't consider it a problem, but there's continuing challenges and opportunities here in the city. We've talked before about the downtown situation, and that is going to be...
and that's yours, right?
That is in District 5. Yeah,
17th Street.
I wouldn't consider that mine. It is a part of District 5, but this is an area and an issue that affects the entire city and all the residents. Every commissioner, every department, and the people of McAllen really have to take ownership of it, and we need to find the right structure and the right processes in place to make that a viable and thriving community and safe for all those around town.
There have been some conversations about that at City Hall. So is there a consensus of what will happen in your future? I know they want to regulate it, make it a little harder to open up new places, but what about just ripping the guts out and starting over? I mean, what's the thought right now?
So the city hired a consulting firm out of Austin called Men Collective. They had a first meeting with residents at City Hall. I thought it was incredibly productive. Those with stakes in the game there downtown got to share their opinions, their experiences. It was a wonderful start. I think the consultant is going to take a little while longer in order to put their suggestions together in a plan that the city commission and the different residents and those involved in the downtown area will be able to look at, give their opinions. Probably will be something that will be refined a few times, and then the city it's imperative that the city gets involved and actually pushes something forward to try to create, solutions for the issues that have been down there.
Michael Fallick is our newly elected commissioner for District 5 in McAllen. That 17th Street area for downtown McAllen, which is, it's known for clubs and bars, a night life district, has been a little bit of a trouble spot, thorn in the side because of some of the belligerence and exuberance by some of the young folks that are coming from outside the city to beat up cops and other things like that. So we're rethinking what to do. Do you have an opinion of what should happen on 17th Street, how it should change?
So I think you got to look at the downtown area more broadly than just 17th Street. We're trying to set a framework and zoning processes where the entire downtown can really be activated. So I think we need to look more broadly at what can be done down there. So it's not just a bar district. It's something that, a past history that had high-end retail and stores where people could come on an everyday basis and get what they needed. It was a vibrant, viable shopping community that laid the groundwork for so many residents here as they set off on their careers. So I think we need to look at it more broadly, to, incorporate different mixed uses so that it is, again, it's not just a bar district. I think there's possibilities to creating something really valuable where people can, potentially live and work and play and have different mixed uses there that will appeal to a wider array of people.
I remember a recent conversation we had. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Ralph Garcia at EDC, or if it was Javier, our mayor, but with a convention center looking at all that, all that available land is the north to keep developing and maybe bring it in as part of the overall campus to bring in more business or whatever, from the convention center all the way up to the Business 83. Well, Massimo, close by, with so much potential there in downtown McAllen. It's a lot of old properties, a lot of folks who still have homes, and that needs to be respected as well. But it has so much potential. Where I'm trying to go with this is the consultant who was looking at the area. Did the consultant find if there is enough demand for live band establishments, maybe some jazz clubs, people come in and just enjoy comedy clubs, more of that, you know what I mean? More where it'd be a magnet destination for more than just the West Coast, just the kids that come over, get drunk, and do the nightlife thing, but have more of a, like more of a Austin feeling.
I think that's exactly right, and that's what I'm talking about. Is that a wider array of options. I think there may not currently be that demand on the entertainment side, but that doesn't mean that it can't. Changes can't be made and investments can't be made and improvements to the areas and the streets and the lighting and the accessibility to where we create an environment like that. Because I do think that is where we need to move so that, it is less focused on one segment of that entertainment community and can provide a wider array for families and young people and, professionals alike so that, everybody's got some reason to go downtown.
And I was kind of winding there. The reason I mentioned north of the convention center, because that acreage there might be more appropriate because it's convention center centric and retail centric and Simon Property Center. Well, that's a draw. That's already a draw. Maybe that land would be best for those clubs and comedy clubs there versus downtown. Just let it be. Leave it alone.
It's not something, though, that we can ever turn our back on that area. So I wouldn't just default to saying that it's got to go somewhere else. But it's important one way or another that we provide the investment, the focus, the time and energy to create something downtown that works for the residents, because it's never going to be that we're just going to turn our back on that area.
Well, you are the expert, you and your family, when it comes to renovating, refurbishing, and repurposing land. 10th and the Expressway, prime real estate. Give me an update on that development there. Anything else that you have?
It's been incredibly exciting. We had a groundbreaking a month ago or so. It wasn't actually a groundbreaking because we had been working on it for a year and a half already, but all the infrastructure is in place now. We are talking to different tenants, both national and local. We will be going vertical with new construction on the first phase of development, which will be a 32,000 square foot, 2-story multi-tenant building. That should start in the next 30 to 45 days. We have several high-end local establishments that will be going in there, a mix of restaurants and retail. That'll set the groundwork, and then we're also making plans for hotels and parking garage in the rear on the west side of the project, and then we will work on the frontage lots and the 10th Street frontage lots as well as we seek out, hopefully new businesses to come into town so that there are new offerings for everybody that lives here.
Yeah, well, the way things are growing around here, should be an easy sell, I would hope.
Well, it's a difficult project because, it had to be acquired from an out-of-state corporation that had owned it for quite a while. They set additional restrictions on it. The city government has placed restrictions on the property as well. So we're navigating a narrow path. But, as you said, we've done this type of thing before. We're intent on making this a success and a real point of pride for the city.
You're going to City Hall now, so bust some heads in there. So, hey, we need to create some jobs, people. We need some investment.
No question. We're, one of the real strengths that I think I bring is recruiting new businesses to town and bringing in new investment and trying to increase that tax base and create new job opportunities for those here.
Continued success. Best of luck to you, and call us anytime.
All right. Well, it's wonderful being here. I look forward to many more conversations.
Yes,
anytime
sir.
you want to know something, I'm around the corner.
Yes, sir. Well, text message away.
All right, sir.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Mike.
that.
Thanks for stopping. Our
Thank you.
commissioner for McAllen District 5 is Mike Fallick. And time is 9:37. The Sergio Show, News Talk 710 KURV. Astros baseball tonight, a 6:40 broadcast. They're hosting the Rangers. Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women make Astros baseball possible on 710 KURV. News next on the Sergio Show, 710 KURV. Are you in the market for a new Toyota or pre-owned Toyota? Look no further than Toyota of Far. They have extensive selection of Toyota cars and Toyota trucks and Toyota SUVs, along with exceptional customer service every step of the way.